Don't fix what ain't broke. That's a saying that most people stick to, but for how long can you keep doing that until you really need to change? Five years since this model's introduction into the country and 2 years since this midlife cycle refresh was introduced. The Honda City is a nameplate that is very familiar to everyone, especially for those looking for cars in the subcompact segment, which is very crowded to begin with. So you have three segments. You have the cheapest cars for those on a budget, you have the mass market vehicles, and you have those that are borderline premium, those that are somewhat eating into the compact segment price-wise. And this is one of them. So the Honda City RS 1.5 CVT goes for 1,138,000 pesos. And is it still worth its asking price today? Let's find out. So the RS variant, as expected, the road sailing variant, gets a little more sporty features all around the car. So for starters, the facelift actually gets this different RS specific front grille and lower grille also. So not much has changed. You still have the same black wing. Is that what Honda calls it? The black wing over the grille with the reflector LED headlights. This bumper is also exclusive to the RS, meaning that you get this very aggressive front bumper with a faux splitter side chin. It's part of the design and it works really well. So the RS also gets these exclusive two-tone 16-inch wheels. They're gunmetal and black finish and they get kind of dirty, but they do look really good. Multi-spoke finished wheels. Now, other RS bits that you also get, you have the black mirror caps, you have the black shark fin finish, and oddly enough, you get a side skirt over here, which I think looks kind of out of place because it's not molded into the body. So it looks like a piece of body kit that was put there, but you didn't have any money for both the front and the rear lip. But that's just my personal opinion. Then when you get to the back of the car, it's still pretty much the same. So you have the black ducktail spoiler over here. The same RS exclusive rear bumper with these fake diffusers over here because they don't really do anything. They're just molded into the design. And then finally, RS badge and these tail lights, which are very 3 Series or very ATIV-like, depending on who you ask. Now, when you open the trunk, unsurprisingly, it's very spacious inside. You have lots of storage inside. You can't fold the rear seats down, sadly. And underneath the mess is a donut spare tire. And there goes my water. It's a bit of a downside compared to the other subcompact sedans that have full-size spare tires. But, I mean, that's fine. At least you have a spare tire. Let's look inside. So the inside of the Honda City RS post-facelift it's still pretty much the same, but with a few key differences that I'll get out of the way right now. So one, the gauge cluster. You now have a color display instead of the segmented LCD that you used to get. Second, the head unit. It now has wireless Apple CarPlay because my phone is not plugged in. And third, you have this red trim over here, which I don't know if they did it like that on purpose, but it looks kind of like candle wax. It looks kind of cheap. Number 4, the seats. Instead of the half suede, half leather upholstery in the previous variant, now it's all leather, and this is the same leather that you'd find in the HR-V, the Civic, the CR-V, meaning Honda did not cheap out. It's very nice to the touch, very premium feeling. Now, to the rest of the dashboard, it's a very familiar affair. So, hard touch plastics. This may look soft, but it's also a hard touch plastic. These vents, the vent surrounds are also gloss black, but it's not like you'll be touching it that often. Now the steering wheel, it's leather wrapped, very shiny because of its age and use. Plus, it's also telescopic and tilt adjustable, meaning it's very easy for you to get an ideal seating position. And when you do get that ideal seating position, visibility around the car is excellent. Because it's a sedan, it has a very low belt line, you can see out of the car very easily, negating the need for a 360-degree camera. Next, as I've told you before, the 8-inch infotainment now supports wireless Apple CarPlay, although it's still the right-hand drive infotainment because all the buttons are over here. Instead, they should be on the left. It would be nice if Honda would shift that to the left to make it easier for drivers to reach. Then your usual automatic Honda climate control with its quirks such as, listen to this, it's very clicky, and then the temperature gauge also changes color depending on which direction you put it at. Very, very nice, very premium. I love this feature with Honda so much. Going down, you have soft touch leather here underneath the red trim and on the door cards as well. And storage is pretty interesting. So it fits an 8-inch banana. Because breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yeah, you can just, put your phone here if you don't want to have a banana on you all the time. And you'll probably want to put your phone over here because you have 2 USB-A ports and a 12-volt power outlet. Why does this not still have USB-C? Well, that's because this facelift was released back in 2023, so temper your expectations. Because of that, there is also no wireless charger in here. Instead, you have a very small cubby hole over here that you'd put the car keys over here. 2 very small cup holders. Your center console, which unfortunately is finished in gloss black, but at least your shifter controls are here. It's an actual physical shifter, not unlike the push button stuff found on some Hondas. And then your econ button. Now, moving further back, this is still a mechanical handbrake. Other markets get an electronic handbrake, but thankfully, this mechanical handbrake is still there. Underneath that is a storage space, though I wouldn't advise putting anything under here because it'll make it hard for you to operate the handbrake. And then there are 2 storage slots on either side, perfect for your wallet or for your phone. See, it doesn't even wiggle around. And finally, your center armrest is unfortunately very small. It's already fully loaded and you can't even fit your 8-inch banana in here. So the back seat of the Honda City is arguably the star of the show and one of the reasons why you'd want a Honda City over the others. It's because of the space. Honda is excellent at interior packaging. So this is my driving position. I'm 5'10" and look at that. There's so much leg room. One other nice thing is that the floor actually slopes downward. If you see over here, instead of it being flat, it slopes down. So that means when you sit here like this, you're in a natural seating position because your feet aren't going up like this. Instead, it's almost theater style, giving you a lot of leg room and it allows your body to relax in a natural position. Headroom is, well, okay, it's decent, probably generous if you're a bit smaller than me, and lots of elbow room. Now, this is also one of those rare cars that has a center armrest with 2 cup holders in the segment, but the headrests are fixed in place. All of these are a bit problematic if you want to remove them or you want to put them up or down, but hey, it's the name of the game. Then you have ISOFIX anchors right behind them if you are a family man. And because this is the RS variant, you actually get 8 speakers. So you have 4 in the front and 4 in the back. So a tweeter and then a mid-range driver down here. Now, finally, wrapping up, you actually have 2 climate control vents, which is great because not many cars have it here. And very interestingly, you have 2 12-volt power outlets here. You can argue that it's a bit of a trade-off because you can buy multiple 12-volt power outlet accessories that you can put in here. So driving the Honda City 1.5 RS CVT, and well, it's not the newest car on the block anymore. So it's still pretty much the same internals underneath. So you have the 1.5 liter gasoline engine with IV tech known as the L15, and it spits out 121 horsepower and 145 newton meters of torque, sending it to the front wheels via a CVT. Your typical budget Honda combination, but in practice, it actually drives pretty well. So power delivery is linear as you'd expect from a naturally aspirated engine. You still have VTEC crossover around 4,500 RPM. I'll let you listen to that now. And the CVT is, well, it's a CVT, so don't expect any shifts or like banging through the gears, but you do have the option to do that via these paddle shifters if you want a bit more of an engaging experience. So by default, this car comes with an econ mode. So when you press that, it will retard the accelerator and make it a bit more slower off the line. But in exchange, you get better fuel economy. But for the sake of driving this car, I drove it without econ mode. On my way around the city, normally you'll get around 6.8 to 7.2 kilometers per liter. On a bad day, a good day would net me about 10 or 11. And this morning, so combined city and highway driving, we're getting about 18.9 kilometers per liter. And that's coming from Capitolio all the way here in Calax. Now, if you're wondering why we're driving a bit slower than usual on Calax, is because this car's NVH performance is not really that impressive. It is a budget subcompact sedan after all, so the moment you get speeds at around 80 to 100 kilometers per hour, you'll notice that the tire noise gets a little loud. Okay, yeah, it is loud. Wind noise is fine because, I mean, you don't get that much streamlined aerodynamics at this price, but generally this is a bit of a noisy car to drive in on the highway. City's fine, don't worry about that. This car handles and drives really well. It's one of the main reasons you'd pick a Honda City over something like a Vios or any similarly priced subcompact sedan, because you buy a Honda for its driving dynamics. The steering feel is on point. Good enough amount of weight, resistance, feedback without feeling too numb. The handling is engaging, it's responsive, the ride is firm but comfortable, so it soaks up the undulations, bumps, potholes pretty well. Braking also, well, it's an ICE car, so you get none of that weird mixed regenerative braking stuff that you'll have to deal with. Of course, you don't have that much body roll to begin with, and it handles great around the corners because this is a sedan that is low to the ground. One of the biggest upgrades of this midlife cycle refresh is that this Honda City now comes with Honda Sensing across the board. And as we've experienced before, Honda Sensing is one of the best, if not the best, mass market advanced driver assistance systems that you can get on a car right now, at least for the mass market. So it comes with adaptive cruise control, lane centering, lane tracing, but that's a Toyota term. It doesn't have blind spot monitors or Honda's lane watch, which it does get in other models, but you don't really need that with a good amount of visibility. And sadly, it has no parking sensors, and the reverse camera is still very low res for what you would get. But that's fine because, I mean, when you have automatic emergency braking, lane centering, stuff like that, watching your back, I think it's worth this car's asking price. But there is a very big but. So the biggest issue with this is that it's priced very close to a few heavy hitters. So for one, you have the Seal 5 from BYD. Then you have the Toyota Ativ, which in its hybrid form is what, like around 70 or 80,000 pesos more than this. And that's a bit concerning considering that this car does have a hybrid variant in other markets. And I don't know why Honda Cars Philippines isn't introducing that model here. They could price it very competitively because of all the taxes and tariff reductions from bringing in an electrified vehicle. But as it stands right now, sadly, the only reason if you'd want to get this is that it's not really sad, because this is one of the last few true ICE vehicles in the subcompact segment that offers a driving experience as engaging as this. And obviously, it's very spacious. It's a Honda. They're great at packaging. And Honda Sensing also, because that is one of the best ADAS systems you can get now. But, okay, Honda, really, please bring in the hybrid so you have a fighting chance. Because at this rate, you might get left behind, and we don't want to see that. Thanks for watching.